40.5% of sellers offered concessions for the 3-month period ending February 28th. And in a sign of cooling economy, retail sales, not sauce, dropped a whopping 0.4% last month. Will these and the latest job numbers make the Fed happy so that they stop jacking up the short-term interest rates? Only the nose knows. This is the Peterson report for March 19th, 2023. Now, I know that I have been fairly harsh when it comes to the Fed, and a lot of the information that I've been putting out over the past few weeks may paint a fairly dramatic and even a negative picture of the housing market. That's partly because I get lost in the minutiae. I am at heart really a geek, and it's extremely easy for a nerdy policy wonk like me to get distracted, to get caught up in the weeds of housing policy and promises by politicians not kept. The fact is, there is a whole bright world above library basements and microfiche rooms out there that's pretty solid. Limited inventory aside, when one takes a 30,000-foot view of the real estate market, things are still going pretty strong. I sat through 3 webinars on the spring housing market this last week, and they're all pretty much pointing to the same 3 things. 1, there are still buyers for homes. 2, homes that are priced appropriately are selling quickly. They're going into contract in a matter of days or weeks rather than months like last fall. And then 3, this is the new normal, so there's no point in griping about it and belaboring it. Right now, if a home has been languishing on the market, it's probably priced too high for its condition or location or even both. Even though mortgage rates returned to 7% this month, there are still plenty of buyers out there right now. First-time home buyers are definitely back this winter. Luckily and happily, they seem to have adjusted to where the market is and are still able to purchase homes in this first-time home buyer market. And that's an extremely positive sign because this really is the market that evaporated last fall across the country. 29% of homes went into contract within the first week of coming onto the market. This is down, although only slightly, from last spring when there were even fewer homes for sale. But what does that mean exactly? Well, for one, the data is suggesting that there is a bottom floor for how long the market will go, or how low the market will go, because there are still enough buyers who are ready, willing, and able to purchase a home. We also know that while there appears to be a pricing floor, there's also a price ceiling right now. It's quite clear that home prices, especially luxury homes, aren't going to be anywhere near the highs of the last couple of years. This is largely because buyers have become particularly price sensitive due to these higher mortgage rates. However, while there is still competition among buyers for the right home, with only moderate demand instead of the craziness that we've been seeing, there has become a fairly hard and fast price ceiling that I mentioned. Buyers, they've been gouged for 2 years. And they're at a point now where they're not so desperate to purchase a home that they're willing to go through or throw the baby in with the price of purchase. On average, most real estate experts predict that prices will remain about where they are over the next couple of years, plus or minus 2%. For what it's worth, there are several experts who have stopped making predictions altogether because of the wild swings in the market for the last 15 months. As an example, from the top of the market last summer to the trough at the end of December, sales prices nationally fell about 5.5%, and yet they're starting to come up again year over year. Unless they aren't, like in select metro areas like San Francisco, where for the first time in a decade, home prices fell year over year. But it was by less than 0.5%. Even so, prices are still above last year's pace in most areas, although that gap will start to shrink and eventually go away as we get closer to summer. Limited inventory will be an ongoing issue for the rest of this year. Even though there is more inventory overall, there are still significantly fewer new listings than last year as well. Right now, in the area, there is only about 1.5 months of inventory on the market. So our overall inventory is actually down year over year in the region, which is bucking the national trend. Despite some new homes on the market over the past 5 days, there really is no data to suggest that there will be a strong surge in inventory. Several economic indicators are that it will, if we have a recession, really, it's going to be a soft landing. Banks, the last couple of weeks of banks imploding notwithstanding, the national news makes it seem like the bottom is falling out of the real estate market. DeWitt Redfin put out a release last week about the changing real estate market. Well, it's already changed, but the national news has picked up on it with gusto. And the report said in the 3-month period from December 22 through the end of February 23, 45.5% of sellers made concessions. These concessions included credits for closing costs, repairs, and mortgage rate buydowns. It's the highest number since June 2020. In fact, one Redfin realtor was quoted as saying, "Buyers today are way more demanding and selective. They're willing to wait to find the perfect house. We're also seeing more buyers asking for credits toward their closing costs," end quote. Good. This actually is really how it should be. Buyers shouldn't be getting hosed because we've been underbuilding for 14 years and there hasn't been enough inventory to go around. Sellers shouldn't get everything they want. Real estate is not supposed to be a zero-sum game. It's not supposed to be a winner-take-all environment. There should be some give and take. That's the whole point of hiring an experienced agent to help you negotiate. Despite Silicon Valley's best intentions, you honestly can't automate purchasing a home. Streamline, yes, fantastic idea, but purchasing a home is just too complicated. The thought of being able to sit on eBay and hit the buy now button should give us all pause. Now, of course, I say this on the heels of 3 mid-sized banks crash landing in the past 10 days. The good news is that there is enough money in the FDIC to ensure that everyone will go ahead and get the money that they had already deposited. I'm not going to get into the moral considerations or the unintended consequences of the latest bailout, which ultimately becomes doing, but I do encourage you to read Paul Krugman's op-ed in the March 15th Washington Post. We aren't going to have a series of catastrophic failures running from bank to bank over the coming months. At least I hope we don't. Just a quick look at the numbers now. The NBS Highways March 2023 housing survey showed resilient levels of buying activity and improved pricing environment. Despite the 100 plus BPS increase in the average 30-year mortgage rates during February, nearly 1/3 of respondents indicated that homes were now selling quickly with multiple offers. That same figure was just 4% in January. Also, shrugging off higher rates, the National Association of Home Builders Confidence Index rose for the 3rd straight month to 44. If you remember, it went down every single month last year. So this is good news as the pace of new home sales and prospective buyer traffic continues to pick up. As a bonus, February housing permits, housing starts, and housing completions all continued to bounce back after a rough 2022. Nevertheless, we are still a long way from building our way out of low inventory. We may have been underbuilding for 14 years, or not we have been underbuilding for 14 years, and are only just now hitting our previous 40-year average. We have a long way to go. But I believe that we're going to get there. In the interim, however, more homes equal lower housing costs across the board. And so we'll end on that happy note with this week. And in honor of St. Paddy's Day on Friday, I'd like to send you off with the traditional Irish blessing. May good luck be with you wherever you go, and your blessings outnumber the shamrocks that grow. May your days be many and your troubles be few. May all God's blessings descend upon you. May peace be within you. May your heart be strong. May you find what you're seeking wherever you roam.